Are you feeling
I-
euphoric like we see with a lot of left-leaners?
No, I'm not. And I wouldn't say I want to vote for Kamala. I'm an independent, and I've been on the record on many, many occasions that I would have voted for a Republican if it were anybody but Trump. I just view him as a divisive force that I think would be on a vengeance tour, and that's just my thinking. But I'm not going to fault anybody, especially somebody as knowledgeable as yourself, for feeling differently, particularly with the cases that you've articulated. Nevertheless, I would tell you that I'm just happy that Biden's gone. And, when I was talking about the whole Trump Kamala Harris thing on my podcast / show, one of the things that I got excited about, Megyn, was that I love the idea of a competition from the standpoint of what kind of things that you just articulated, because so much has gone. We've been talking so much about what Trump was going through in terms of the civil suits, the criminal cases and all of this other stuff that was going on with him, but still he was the presumptive GOP nominee who is now the GOP nominee officially. You have to deal with this man. And this is something that I've been saying for a year. And I got a lot of heat from it, particularly from the African-American community, because people wanted me to focus on that. And I was like, no. I said, the man is going to be the GOP nominee. You're going to have to beat him. And so my attitude is, okay, Kamala Harris, you're the one. You're the presumptive Democratic nominee now. It's going to be official come mid to late August. Let's get it on. Let's find out who indeed is the best candidate for the job compared to you two. Let's see what you do going up head to head against one another.
What do you make of what they did with Biden and the elevation of Harris without a single person voting for her?
I didn't have a problem with the elevation of Harris because she was the VP. I did have a problem with how they clearly were lying to all of us about what was going on with Biden. Sean Hannity had played it. Chris Cuomo had played it. Almost a year ago, I said, we need a new president. It's slippage. It's too flagrant. It's too obvious. He does not need, we don't need, I think one of the most embarrassing moments that I've ever seen in politics is when Biden gave his State of the Union address and folks were standing up chanting 4 more years. That to me was utterly ridiculous. You knew he was going to be 82 by the time Election Day rolled around, and you're talking about 4 more years, but you call yourself a progressive party. I just thought that was utterly ridiculous. And so it was some of the things that I was pointing to in terms of the cognitive decline or what have you. Clearly he had lost his fastball to some degree. He wasn't there. And then we saw the debate on June 27th, and it was obvious that what I had been saying for months was absolutely correct. So clearly it was a change that needed to be made. I have no problem with Kamala Harris being that nominee in place of him, considering the fact that she is the vice president and the campaign dollars that were thrown in his direction. It is the Biden-Harris campaign, not just the Biden campaign. I just thought that it was too late in the game to even go in a different direction. But I also am a bit salty at the fact that there was no primary. There was no battle for anybody to oppose Joe Biden, for him to really, really show that he was capable to begin with, to even show up to the debate this past June 27th. So that's where I'm at with it.
There's a debate going on now about how much Kamala Harris should be held responsible for what Republicans are terming the big lie about Joe Biden's mental acuity. And there's a Republican strategist, Alex Castellanos, who says, don't go there because most people are going to forgive her. He's her boss. She kind of had to do it. What was she going to do? Run around saying, he's non-compos mentis, he can't do it. But this is definitely a line that's being pushed by Team Trump and others against Kamala Harris, that she was in on it and she should be held responsible for not outing his condition. How do you feel?
I don't agree with Trump's folks on that regard, because I think it's too late in the game for all of that. Look, my man, you're the GOP nominee. Go up there and beat her. What record does she have? You've been touting the fact that you have a record and she really, really doesn't. You've been saying all of these things. And now, when it was Biden, you were talking about how not 1, not 2, I'll debate him 5 different times. Let's get it on. But all of a sudden it's somebody that's 19 years younger than you instead of 3 or 4 years older than you. And now you're talking all of this. We don't want to hear that. I took a lot of hits for this, Megyn, as well. I said, listen, regardless of the cases, the legitimacy of some of the cases that were against him, the fact of the matter is that when you talked about engaging in lawfare, the line that he kept saying that was resonating with me is, you guys are doing this because you can't beat me. You can't beat me. Well, now you've got a vice president who's the presumptive Democratic nominee that's saying, let's get it on. I'm going to beat you. I know I can beat you. I want to take you on. Let's have a debate. Let's go at it. She's doing exactly what you were saying they didn't want to do. And so when I look at it from that standpoint, it has me looking forward to the campaign, and it has me looking forward to what I believe will be an imminent debate. And so because of that, that's what I want to see. Don't try to distract us with, oh, she didn't dime out her boss. There's a lot of people that's not going to do that. I mean, if you're a part of an administration, no matter what slippage you may see, you're not going to go out there and advertise it to the world. You're going to talk about things internally. And that's where I give credit to Senator Booker, Cory Booker, when he was questioned about what they're going to do in terms of the Democrats that were looking for Biden to step away and step aside. Cory Booker did not lie. He simply said, these are conversations that should be had in private. It shouldn't happen in public. Now, whether you agree or disagree, it wasn't a deceitful comment. He was simply saying, I think this should be handled in-house. If he's telling Biden, you need to step aside, he's saying, I'm not going to advertise it to the world. I'm going to tell the president, I think you need to step aside. And whether we agree or disagree with that, I don't think that's a position to be offended by, is what I'm saying. And so I say we just move on from here.
How can she not be held accountable when she also took an oath to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States? And if she saw a man who now is essentially admitting he cannot be president, if she saw that, didn't she have an obligation to do something about it? As far as we know, she did absolutely nothing about it and let him remain in control. And he's still in control.
Well, you're right, Megyn, if she did nothing. What I'm saying is, if she spoke, whether it was to Senator Schumer, whether it was to Nancy Pelosi, whether it was to Senator Booker, House Rep Hakeem Jeffries, former President Barack Obama, and others, if she were working internally to make sure those issues were being addressed because of what she witnessed and she saw, but she didn't just go outside and in a public forum come across as betraying the administration that she works under, I don't have a problem with that. You are right. If she did absolutely nothing, I don't know that she did nothing, because look what ultimately ended up happening. I think it took too damn long, but the bottom line is, he's not going to have a chance to be the president in 2025. And that's the bottom line.
What should happen with him right now? Because a lot of folks are saying, I just said, how can he not? Yeah, should he step down? Okay. Because every day, we got another example. I don't know if you saw this yesterday, but he's getting off Air Force One. And somebody shouted out to him that Speaker Mike Johnson said, I think it's his Supreme Court reforms that he proposed are dead on arrival. They said they're dead on arrival. And we'll play the clip. You can't hear the president very well, but take a listen.
Speaker Johnson said it's dead on arrival. And he is? How are you going to get this? How are you?
You can't hear it. But what Joe Biden said was, he's dead on arrival. And there's reporters like, what? And he said it again. He's dead on arrival. That makes no sense. He's not making any sense.
That particular quote right there makes no sense. I can't argue with you. I'm not going to even try to argue with you on that one, Megyn. You're absolutely right. But what I will say is this. He's the president of the United States. He's got about 5 months to go. When I look at it from that standpoint, and I look at the kind of things that he's trying to accomplish within his administration, we all know at the end of the day, there's a whole bunch of people that work for an administration that go about the business of getting things done. A lot of times, one of the things that I lament, I'm just saying, it could be.
No, I hear you, but we didn't elect them.
I agree, but listen, you know a hell of a lot better than me, Megyn. That's not how it works. The people that we elect end up actually doing the littlest amount of work. It's the people that work for them that go about the business.
True, but we have the ultimate decision maker. We had the ultimate decision maker as the commander in chief. Ultimately it was Barack Obama who had to say, okay, go ahead and take out bin Laden.
That's
it was Donald
true,
Trump who
but-
had to say, go ahead and take out Soleimani.
Fair.
And those are the men who,
Fair.
by the way, risked their lives by making those decisions. You know, there was that Iranian hit that was just taken out on Trump was in response for the Soleimani. So we do respond, especially in the commander-in-chief role, to one decision maker. And we don't seem to have that right now.
Well, let me depress you with this because you cover politics far more intensively than I ever want to. Let me say this to you. One of the things that I've said to people, I said, do you realize the times that we're living in? Megyn, the work is in the campaign. That's it. Once you're an elected official, I've seen politicians literally publicly stating we didn't even read the bills. All we do is get somebody to look over it, give us some cliff notes, and we sign it. They don't work. If you're a Democrat, you're going to side with the Democrats. If you're a Republican, you're going to side with Republicans. They talk about how many seats are separated in the House between the Democrats and the Republicans. They're not doing any real work once they get in there. That's the problem with politics.
If you are tired of the same old coffee from those mega corporations pushing their woke agendas, and who isn't, listen up. It's time to take a stand and support a brand that embodies American values. At Blackout Coffee, they stand with hardworking Americans who believe in family, faith, and freedom. They roast some of the most incredible coffee you will ever taste using only premium grade beans. And guess what? They roast and ship within 48 hours to ensure you get the freshest coffee possible. You could start your day with a bold cup of Blackout Coffee. Plus, it's not just coffee, it's a statement. Why settle for less? Make the switch to Blackout Coffee today by heading over to blackoutcoffee.com/MK or use the code MK for 20% off your first order. Why support these woke coffee companies? Go to blackoutcoffee.com/MK and the code is MK. Join the movement, taste the difference. Remember, with every sip, you are supporting a brand that stands for America. Be awake, not woke. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.